Competitive advantage is what begins to separate one firm from another. It's what drives what we would call a wedge between willingness to pay, or WTP, and the cost to produce a product or service. At its core, the bigger the wedge, the higher your profit margins. For a competitive advantage to be successful, they are unique and all aspects work in harmony. They can be formed analytically, but most are based in trial and error. As the article states, though, smart luck beats dumb luck, and that analysis can hone insight. With this in mind, we can begin to answer our questions about competitive advantage. The first being, what core trade-offs are there in order to achieve a competitive advantage? This question is between supplier opportunity cost and WTP. As described in Ted Hartnell's article, value differentiates products and increases the WTP of customers. In a market where customers are looking at the difference between the benefit that the product offers them and the price they must pay for the product, it's important for firms to analyze what opportunity costs they can incur in order to gain the largest market share. Though, firms need to evaluate at what point they lose value for selling the product for too low of a price. The analyzation decides the amount that the supplier is willing to accept for services or products based on the cost for their resources. The intersection of WTP and opportunity cost creates added value. Widening this wedge is difficult. It can create happy and loyal customers. However, it can increase the cost of business as well. But if WTP increases with added value, the firm as well as its customers will benefit. Dual competitive advantage is when a firm has a superior product at a lower cost. It's not very common, arguably due to easily copied operational practices, but this advantage is difficult to achieve because creating both differentiation and low cost aren't easy. Products typically have one advantage or the other, but rarely are produced with both. In an example given in the Harvard Business Review text, it explores how the Nintendo Wii has a multitude of features that increase its value while staying at a lower price point due to its older and less expensive technology. Companies that are able to achieve this are worth understanding as these companies transform their industries. In order to understand a firm's strategy, analysts like us have to begin to understand a firm's competitive advantage. When analyzing what a company does differently than its rivals, we decompose the firm into parts based on relative costs and WTP in order to create a vision of the strategy. The integrated whole is what we look at to understand the firm. The relative cost analysis and WTP across firms tell us, firstly, how big their wedge is in comparison to their competitors. Secondly, how competitive they are on cost and differentiation. And lastly, it reveals if they're lucky enough to be a dual competitive company. A firm's strategy describes its ability to gain market share and unveils how well it competes with other firms.